Hey everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I got my co-host, the lovely Meme Red.
Hello,
She's
everyone.
over there. And then our special guest tonight is awesome. I mean, he has wrote a book. He has been on paranormal investigations. Please welcome Jimmy Petonito.
Who, me?
You!
Hi, fellas. Thanks for having me.
Oh, well, thank you for coming. We really we appreciate it. And it's an honor to meet you, even though it's through the internet. It's still an honor to meet you and everything. We're gonna start out. Medium Red is going to be asking you some questions. And before we get started, I just want to explain that Medium Red is also a paranormal investigator too, as well. And that's why I invited her to be my co-host, to help me co-host this. So take it away, sweetie.
Thanks so much. Thank you, Chrissy, for having me. I appreciate it.
You're
Jimmy, what a pleasure to meet you.
Holy mackerels.
I picked up your book and I am impressed by your book and I have questions
No,
for
you did
you.
not.
I did.
I'm wondering who's buying these things.
You just saw a recent sale and went, who the heck is buying my book now? But I do have, go ahead.
Oh, no, it's nice to see a face go along with the book.
That's right. Exactly. Precisely. Well, I have some questions. Your book's fabulous, and one of the questions I had for you is in the Rosenheim Poltergeist, the one story you talk about Anna Marie Scaburl. I think if I can say her name correctly. Did she? I wanted to know more about that. Did she have an attachment to her? You were saying that she would go to work every single day. They kept having paranormal experiences in that building. It was a law firm, if I remember correctly. And they were noticing, like, I think the lights were always flickering during the day. A copy machine was having issues or something. And they kept calling people in to fix the things, but then they had no explanation as to why they were not fixable. But as soon as Anna Marie left the building, those paranormal activities stopped. And so I was curious, did she have like an entity attached to her, or did she have powers, or?
Red.
Yes.
Which book are you talking about?
Oh, I'm going to have to go get it now. I remember the title. What was it the book that you sent me, Chrissy?
I think it was Phantom Messages.
Oh,
Yes,
that was like
correct.
6 years ago.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the new one.
Oh, shoot. I didn't even know there was a new one.
Oh, my Lord.
Well, you're going to have to pump it now so I can write it down and get it too.
This is the one you're talking about.
Correct. That's the one I'm talking about.
I'm way out of practice with those stories there. And then I was like, wow, I don't remember the poltergeist.
He's like, wait, let me go to that page.
It on?
We'll get back to that. But I don't remember that exact chapter. But in my opinion was always like a lot of these, in my opinion and experiences, a lot of these hauntings or anything has to do more with the chemistry of the people that are at the location than, like, of course, if a place has history, stuff might happen there. But like, these houses that people say that are known for being haunted, Amityville, all these big ones, like, well, I lived there for 50 years and nothing happened to me. Or it doesn't necessarily mean nothing happens to the people before. It's like,
right.
the right time, the right place, the right people, the chemistry that are in that particular location at the time cause stuff. Just like
it's a catalyst.
Yeah, when you go to a cemetery, or any haunted location anybody can go to, I think there's spirits all over. No matter where you are, there's going to be spirits. So, like, people say, I know you want to go to a place that has a history, so it's fun, but I also believe you could just go out into a random field and take pictures or recordings or try to get EVPs. And if spirits there, they're going to want to communicate wherever they are.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if they answered your question, but I hope they get the copier fixed.
Well, it was just really funny because like when she finally quit in the book, you said something like when the woman finally quit, and all of a sudden all the paranormal activity that the law firm was experiencing, it ceased. It completely ceased. And I was like,
it was her fault.
Yeah, it was her fault. We'll blame her, right?
It's so sad you have all these questions about the book. Then me and Bill Hall, we did half the stories each. So that's why I know the ones I wrote much better.
Right. Well, I know. I was like, I even wrote them all down.
Holy mackerel!
Well, so that's very true. I believe that too, because there's, and then again, you get the people that are skeptics. Like my husband currently right now is like the biggest skeptic. He will tell you point blank that he totally believes what I do because he's seen me in action and it's blown his mind away. But subsequently, he's still a skeptic when he walks into a building and goes, when they say it's haunted, he's like, "Oh, I'm not experiencing anything. It's not haunted." So, that's the gospel truth, and he walks out.
When I was younger, I used to plead with people that they used to argue with them with the skeptics, like, you don't understand. And now when I got older, I explain it. Wait, I got a thought here. Well, skeptics, that I don't blame anybody for not believing anything if they didn't experience it. If they didn't experience anything, and you can't prove anything to them no matter what you show them. But once you do experience something, there's no going back. I don't argue with people anymore. You don't believe, that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, no, and I don't either.
Prove anything, but
no, and in this field, it's a lot of people do say like, oh, you have to prove yourself being in this field, particularly for myself too, because I'm a medium, and so there's no really scientific, something scientific behind what I do. So,
and we're just here for the people that enjoy it, and our
right.
people. So that's all that matters.
Exactly. All right. Well, I do have another question for you, but I don't know if you're going to know what this one is from Phantom Messages or not. But so maybe what I'll do is I'll phrase it from the standpoint of you've had messages in this book that talk about technology. So I would love to get your feedback on that in regards to some people like a train wreck that had occurred. One of the stories that you had was a train wreck.
Oh my God, yeah.
And the text messages were coming through to the people systematically, yet the phone was gone.
Well, let me tell you about the history of the book a little bit. I wanted to do a book on my experiences. And my co-author, Bill Hall, already previously wrote 2 books. And he was stuck. I don't know what I want to write, but I don't know what to write about. And so we got together and I said, I would love for him to write my story because he's a writer. I'm not really a writer.
Mm-hmm.
And then he didn't know me that well. He's like, I don't think we have enough stuff to write a book about. I have 10 great cases that would make a good book in itself, I thought. But it takes a lot to fill 50,000, 60,000 words, So I learned that. So he goes, he said, let's do something together. So we didn't know what we wanted. We liked urban legends, that kind of stuff. But I saw something I came across Facebook that you've probably seen these messages that said, my girlfriend texted me this morning, but she's been dead for 3 years. And I'm like, oh, I see that a lot. So then I threw out there just one day on Facebook, I went, does anybody ever have any of these kind of stories? And within 3 days, 6 messages, or my friend had this come across the TV. I got texts, emails, phone calls. And there was a book in the 1980s called Phone Calls from the Dead that most of us had it on our shelves at one time. And so I said, well, we could do a updated version of that using all the technology used nowadays. But your question was about the train, and I can't remember that. Listen, like I said, 5 years ago we were doing a book tour of all this, and we do it like that. But
it was fresh. It was fresh in your mind.
Yeah, the man. I'm trying to think of the man's name.
But, I don't know if I have the man's name down or not, but I do know that
the gentleman.
Yeah.
The gentleman on the train. There's this terrible train accident.
Right, and he died.
He died, but he was sending out messages to his friends and loved ones.
Correct.
From that phone, but they were able to locate where his phone was in the train eventually. They said everything was crushed. He was not
Right.
alive for 2 seconds to send these messages. So I believe that's the one there.
That's the one, yeah. And it was wild. It was not even just one text message. It was, I can't remember in the book, but you said it was like multiple. It was like 9 or 10 different text messages to various different people, which was just mind blowing. I had something similar happen to me like that, where one of my best friend's fiancés had passed away, and he lived very close by to the house here, and consequently, like a year or two went by, and all of a sudden, I got a phone call from his phone number. And yet when I called it back, it was disconnected. So it came up, Bill. And I was like, he's been dead for 2 years. So I was quite interested to hear, now with the technology, the spirits are able to use these pieces of equipment, which is pretty phenomenal.
Well, the theory is, for some reason, it's easier for them to use the technology than manifest something without it.
Right.
We'll probably figure it out. We'll probably figure it out one day. And then the saddest part was, after the book came out, we got these people, everybody in the world didn't hear about our idea to write a book about it. So we're getting all these amazing stories afterwards that were, holy mackerels, good. And then the publisher, unfortunately, it was trying to step away from the paranormal stuff. They got a new ownership, so they didn't give too much support to our book. And then we're gonna follow up with a better one, new one with more, but it didn't happen.
Oh, I think you should. Phantom Messages Part 2.
Well, I'll do something.
Yeah. So so your other book, is that the Mr. Haunted?
I'm trying to find it for you.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Wait,
this is a book.
There's somebody at the door. Hold on.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I think he has another book called Mr. Haunted Origins, maybe.
Okay, I'm gonna write that one down too.
I just found it, which I didn't know about either, though. But it's so exciting, though, because I bet that one. I need to get that one, but I know it's going to be good anyway. So
right. Well, I love this one.
I totally lied. Don't be scared. I'm gonna put the light on for a second because I put it somewhere in this room and I can't find it.
Okay.
My Frankenstein fell. I put it right here. I did.
It's always in the last place you look for it.
Why is
they say?
Office places are always clutter. Everybody.
Chaos. Yeah.
Yes.
What? It's gone. Maybe it's this right here. I found it.
It's holding the laptop up.
It was. Look at this. See? This one.
My head spinning journey.
My head spinning journey.
Uh-huh. From visiting haunted cemeteries to assisting in exorcist. Oh, wow. Yeah, I bet that's good.
Mr. Haunted. There. Okay.
There it is. That's it. Chrissy, you're right. Yeah.
Quite different from Voices on the Phone.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
So what is that book about, actually? I mean, can you give us a little summary?
You know something? For anybody that lost their dad or a parent, my dad had the best. He was a character, and he had the best stories ever. Just not even paranormal, he was a character. He had the best stories, and you don't think before they go to document them or because I'll never hear them again. They're gone, and you forget. So I mean, selfishly almost, I wanted to write this. The whole beginning is about me growing up and all my experiences and some paranormal, how I got interested. But I said maybe one day my kids will want to say, here's my story. Here's my dad's story. It'll leave them something. And I think it's interesting to other people. Any you don't even have to be a paranormal person. I think it's just fun stories in there. But it growing up stories all the way to when I met Ed and Lorraine Warren, to how he got involved with the exorcisms. And I did a radio program for almost 10 years. And I picked 15 of my favorite guests interviews on there. There's a whole bunch of stuff. It's fun.
Can't
So
wait.
mostly it's about the Conjuring House, isn't it? Conjuring House, I mean.
No.
No, because we went on vacation last year, and it was my daughter-in-law's birthday, and she's into that house. She's really into it. So we was going to go there, and lo and behold, we couldn't because the whole Jacqueline, the owner, everything with Jason Hawes and all that.
Right in the
So
middle of all the drama.
yeah,
Yeah.
we couldn't go, but we went to the Lizzie Borden house instead in Fall River, Massachusetts.
That was a cool house. I've been to both.
So, what's your thought process? I would love to hear, more about Ed and Lorraine Warren. I absolutely adored them for the fact of, basically putting the paranormal on the map, including mediums. So, I would love to hear more about Ed and Lorraine and
Well, let's see.
and how you were interacting with them and what investigations you've done with them.
Now, okay, let's skip to like college age. I already had an interest in. I was a little nerd. I loved everything UFOs, ghosts, ghost stories, graveyards, all that stuff, like many of you. And but there was no internet, and I would buy any ghost book I could find on hauntings or true stories. And my favorite book I had, and I still have it. It's called Real Ghosts by Daniel Cohen. It was a collection of supposedly true ghost stories. And if you're familiar with the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall picture,
Yes,
it shows the lady coming down the staircase.
yeah,
And they said
I am.
this is a psychic photograph, and they try to explain that this wasn't there when they took it, but it appeared on the film somehow, and this depicts the ghost Dorothy Walpole that supposedly haunts this manor. So I was like, what's cooler than that? And I said, I want a picture like that one day. That was my goal in life. I want my own picture like that.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing ever happened because I'm not going to England anytime soon. But when I got to college, like I said, there was no internet, kids. We got to go find stuff. So Ed and Lorraine Warren came to my college. I was familiar with them. They were kind of local celebrity people, I guess. And they did the lecture on all that stuff I like. And they even showed, they talked about psychic photography or spirit photography. And they showed the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall picture. Like, these are my people. So then, and so the audience, it was sold out every time they came to, the college was sold out.
I bet.
And they were talking about this cemetery in Connecticut. It's called Union Cemetery, where this white lady, they call it, supposedly walks around, and she's been seen for decades. And they said you could go there, so you could take her picture. And I was under the impression you could go. It's so haunted that you just go there and you're gonna go see her walking around. So when I finally found out where this place was, they were talking about, I bought 2 rolls of film, and I waited and waited, and there was no ghost walking around. I was very disappointed, and I said, "Let me just take my film just to show I was here," and I probably would have never done it again. But when I got it developed, I got some crazy pictures.
Nice.
And then you even think, was it fog or smoke or reflections, all this kind of stuff. And some of them were just like, it made me interested. So I went, this is before children, before everything. So I worked nights. So I would go there 3 or 4 nights a week and take a roll of film before I went to work and try to get EVPs on my little tape recorder. And I kept getting, I was getting some cool stuff. I'd experiment with what smoke looked like, with car exhaust, rain, moisture, because I want to show the difference. Like, this is different kind of stuff. And I'm not saying it's a ghost. I don't know what it is, but it's intriguing. And then you start, yeah. And then you're trying to, some of these pictures are so obviously a face. None of the orb stuff. I mean, like a face with eyes, nose, ears. Like, how is this happening? So I just kept going back and back and back. So I created I had a whole photo album like this thick,
Wow.
like
Oh,
that thick.
Wow.
My perspectives are off, but of all these pictures, and this place became so popular that on a weekend there could be anywhere from like 10 to 20 people just hanging out against the gate taking pictures.
Wow.
So and the cops used to be nice back then. Now it's 20 people vandalizing and littering the place that you can't even go
Mm.
sit outside at night there. They'll tell you to leave.
Oh.
Back then they were cool with us, and um, one night you learn who they are. It was a small town, so the guy used to come check on us every once in a while, the cop, and one day he goes, "Let me see your pictures." So he's looking through my pictures on the back of my car, and then this woman came over, just one of these people at the cemetery, and she goes, "Wow, these are really good." She goes, "I work with Ed and Lorraine Warren. They would love to see these." So I said, "Oh,
Oh, wow.
wow.
they were just at my college a couple years ago."
I love it.
And
That's awesome.
so she said she works with them and they have meetings on Monday nights, and she invited me to the next week. So I brought them all with me, and I thought they were like worth money, like like $1 million for the National Enquirer is going to want this picture. Um, so like I got there and Lorraine was so nice. She says, "Oh my God, sweetie, these are beautiful pictures. Can I have them?" I said, "Yeah, take them. I can make copies, you know." So they took all my pictures, and then soon afterwards, they were using the pictures that I took as part of their program. So when I went back to see them at my school, they were showing my pictures on the screen, and she would call me up and tell me to talk about them, and I was terrified to go up there. But
Wow.
it was nice for that, you know,
Right.
and that's how it started.
Wow, that's cool. I would love to see those pictures in a book. I mean, I think that
Absolutely.
would be really
I could,
interesting. I
you know what?
would buy it with the in the heartbeat. Yes.
Well,
Right.
not all of them. That's the thing. Not all of them are freaking people walking around in faces. You get a few, and then people, you know. But the topper is that's my mother's word. The topper. The best picture I've ever seen. This is my white lady of the brown lady of Raynham Hall. I was looking through my grandmother's photo album 15 years ago. You know, after Thanksgiving, when everybody's just sitting around all fat and tired.
Yeah. Turkey overload.
Yeah, I mean, so she had all these photo albums next to the couch there, and I'm looking through them, and I meet it because that's the way we think. You could see it was a wedding picture. There was three in succession, and the middle one has this big face over the bride and groom,
Oh, wow.
and
Wow.
you could see the hair. I mean, it looks like a reflection. You know, it's somebody. It's so obvious. So I showed my grandmother who, um, I said, "Graham," I said, "who is this?" And like, you know, if everybody else in the picture was this big, the face was this big. It was over them, really big. And she goes, that's Roseanne or whatever." I said, "Well, who?" No, so maybe it was a reflection or something, you know. I said, "Who's Roseanne?" She goes, "Well, she died before the bride was even born, and she was named after her." I
Oh,
said,
wow.
"This is from the '70s." So I said, for
Right.
30 years, this poor woman showed up smiling at her granddaughter's wedding that she was named after. Nobody noticed it.
That's incredible.
Well, then it gets better. And there's a point to this whole story. So I told the woman that got married, and in the picture, I called her and I said, it was one of these people I see once a year. I said, "This is going to sound really weird." I explained it to her. I said, "Could you find a picture of your grandmother so I can match it up?" You know, like people find faces in clouds. You're like, well, anybody can find a face. But I said, if you could
Mhm.
match it with a person,
Right.
you know. So I said, "Could you find a picture of your grandmother for me?" So she said she went down the basement, and she said she has a whole wall of old photo albums on a shelf, whatever. And she said, I went down, and she's not a believer. She's very, very religious. She doesn't like that stuff. Um, she said, I
Mhm.
went down there, and one of the photo albums fell off the shelf at her feet, opened up like this, and on one side of the photo album was a picture of her grandmother, and she was out fluttered like a picture of me and my sister when we were like 7, 8 years old. It was a Christmas card that she saved. So it was almost like a thank you to, for that book to open up to that picture, and then me and my sister's picture plop right in front of her
Right
face.
there.
It
Right.
was almost
Yeah.
like I get chills.
Wow.
So we're talking about a picture book. So this picture is, I think, is the most amazing thing, and I did, I got it done darker and lighter to try to make it pop better. And so I put this picture in this new book just to tell the whole
Oh,
story, and you
great.
can't see anything in the picture. Like, it came out terrible.
Oh no.
So my dream was shattered. Hey, listen, because I explained to everybody what an amazing picture this is, and you could barely see like a little puff on it.
Oh.
I'll try to find it while I'm talking.
It's hard
So,
with stuff like that with print.
I'm afraid, not knowing if they're not going to come out well. It's going to be like a dud. The whole.
Mm-hmm.
I could add a few pictures in the next book. That'll be interesting.
We did have that happen in the while you're looking for the Tombstone, the tent saloon. It's actually now a resident. It used to be a residence, but we had that too, where it's actually the imprint of a face coming through the glass. And I had a sketch artist do a drawing of the particular entity that was in the building that was causing problems, and it matched up, just like what you're saying. It matched up, like begins like, yeah.
Jimmy, what would you tell people when if someone comes up to you and say, what is the most important thing that you want to tell me about dealing with the paranormal?
Yeah, it's hard to see.
You can't see it. What was that question? If the most important thing?
Yeah, if somebody came up to you and said, Jimmy, I want to know what's the most important thing that you would like to tell me about dealing with the paranormal, what would you tell them?
In what aspect? Like investigating, or
just want to investigating, dealing with the investigation of the paranormal. Like if I came up to you and says, okay, Jimmy, I'm going to go to this house and investigate. What should I know about the paranormal? What should I do? How to act? Because a lot of people they're scared of it. A lot of people are skeptics, very skeptic. And they think that, a lot of people, in fact, I heard somebody the other day saying that paranormal is not real, that it's a mental illness that we have. So yeah, it's kind of like, what?
Well,
yeah, exactly.
The unfortunate thing is some of these haunted places, there is some mental illness. There's always going to be some people that are imagining stuff, and it kind of ruins it for everybody else. So this was proven to be, it's not everything was, but the only thing I would recommend people is, like, when I first went to that, is persistence. Because like I said, especially when you investigated homes before, if these people could have had like 5 amazing things happen. They could have had a full body apparition walk right at them and talk to them. They could have had their refrigerator floating around their kitchen. They could have had their dog levitate and talk in Latin on the ceiling. But suppose there's 5 major incidents like that happened while they were living in this house. The odds are, when you go there and investigate for the weekend, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, especially with, anything like, it's to be not, but I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's just hard to, no matter what you do, is to force something to happen. And I would never try to force anything to happen. But like the persistence also, like when I kept, when I first started going to that cemetery where I was getting the pictures, I was we had a cassette player back then, the old recorders. And I would put while we were there, I would put the, what do you call it? Cassette. What do you call it? Tape recorder. I'd put it inside the cemetery while we were there for like, it had an hour length or whatever. So I'd leave it in there for an hour. And back then, this is how we did EVPs. We didn't do them in real time like they do now. So I'd leave the tape recorder in there for an hour, And then on the way back home, we'd listen to the tape, and you just hear crickets and cars going by, never anything. But I didn't quit. Like it's got every time I did it. Persistence, I'm saying, is important. So I don't know how many times. This might have been 30, 40 times. Never got a word or a whisper or nothing. And then me and my friend Rick were driving back home, and we were always listening. And then we heard it sounded like this: "Kill them all."
Oh,
Like,
whoa!
Like right like that. Like we got something. But that's the corniest TVP ever.
That's hilarious.
What does that
Kill them
mean?
all.
So then we always went at night, to get to do this. So then the next, I went back, whatever, shortly after that during the day to see where I put, because I always put the tape recorder in the same spot, thinking in my head, let them learn where, like a dog, let them learn where their spot is. So, so during the day, I went there, and the name of the stone was Gillemon. And he wasn't saying kill them all. He was saying Gillemon, whatever his name was.
Right.
So he said
Oh, wow.
But after
That
like
is
50
awesome.
tries. So it's hard. You can't give up, people. Inspirational quotes. I just made that up. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Shirts and stuff. I've never heard that before.
That's pretty awesome. That
is.
Yeah. We don't really have a team. We just do things on our own. Do
you ever notice when everybody individually are really nice people, and then when they get into groups, it causes problems?
Yes.
Especially nowadays.
Yeah, it does. I think I like to
Sorry, my eyes get a little too big there.
I like to investigate stuff on, like, with my family or some really close friends. Somebody that is just like, oh, you guys, it's nothing. This fell off on, it was an accident or something. Although that's not real or something, and it kind of takes that excitement away.
They ruin it.
Yeah.
And because I have lived in houses that weird stuff happens, like the spaghetti jar just go flying.
Why did that happen?
So, yeah, or the lights flicker, or I hear somebody on the stairs, or we hear somebody like banging a pot or a pan. Oh yeah, here's one for you, Jimmy. I don't know, maybe you can help me figure this one out. We lived in Colorado for about 8 years. When we first moved there, didn't know nobody. It's like the first 2 weeks we lived there. We had this phone call from this hotel, because it was a hotel number, and it said, "Help me, help me."
Oh, wow.
And then it hung up, and I'm like, okay, kids are playing a prank, right? So somebody called back again and said, "Please help me, release me." And I'm like, what? So I called back the number, and the number I called back was disconnected. But
holy mackerels!
It used to be a number at a hotel, of an old hotel. I don't know how long ago, but it just wasn't in business no more. What do you make of that? Is somebody trying to reach out to me that says, "Hey, come save me" or something?
I don't. That's what's the frustrating thing, and I understand your frustration, because I'm going to go off the track right here for you, because wish I had my glasses. I can't see. It sounds like I'm going off track, but it's in the same vein here. It's very frustrating when you're seeing a sign, but you don't know what to do with it. Like, what do I do with this? So this guy, this is another thing. No one believes, like, if there's a skeptic that doesn't believe in psychic ability, I believe all of us. It's not a mystical thing. We all have it, whether you call it intuition or whatever.
Exactly.
But everyone's going to say, "Well, I don't believe in psychic ability, but this one time, So I probably have a handful of really cool experiences that I've had with that stuff. But I will tell you the first one quick was I was 5 or 6 years old, maybe younger, and one of my first memories was It was April 3rd. This story is in the new book. Because I know the date. This was my grandfather's birthday, and we're driving out of our driveway to go to his birthday party. And I was sitting in between my mom and dad at the time, and it was just a regular day, not thinking anything weird, no ghost stuff. And as we're leaving the driveway, I said, I said, we're gonna get robbed tonight. And my mother instantly like, shut up. Like, why did you say this? I don't know. It just popped out. I can't even think of it. It just came out of my mouth. We never got robbed before. I don't know why I even had that in my head, where I would get that from. So when we came home that night, guess what?
You were robbed.
We were robbed.
Wow.
So what I'm saying is that this stuff. Now, what was we going to stay home and prevent it, like a little 5-year-old kid? I don't know. But the frustration I'm talking about was another experience. This just happened about a year ago. This convenience store I always go to, there was no cars in the parking lot except mine. And there was this guy, flesh and blood, standing on the sidewalk in front of the store. And he was dressed up in a black suit, and his hair was so perfectly cut, like it just came out of the bar, like so freshly cut. I was noticeable. It's like, that looks like you just got it cut today. And I said, it doesn't look like a normal suit. It looks like a funeral suit. I said, maybe he's going to a funeral. But I thought it was weird because there's no cars. It was weird. Like, where'd he come from? I still don't know if he was really there or not. But he was solid. And I made a note of it. Because, it's like some things just don't feel right.
Right.
Like, this isn't a normal person standing there. Do I do anything? What do you do? I said, what am I supposed to do? So guess what? The next day at work, the same guy was shopping, except he had shorts on. I just saw him. I know what he looked like. And his hair was he was older, in his 70s or 80s, and his hair was like a little curly here and there. It wasn't perfectly cut like it was yesterday. So I said, that doesn't make sense. Somebody could have their hair shorter the next day, but not longer. Like, why is it messier and fluffier today?
Oh.
So then I said, now this is one of those times where you're going to screw up terribly, because I saw him yesterday, and now that I see him now, it seems like some kind of sign, like I'm supposed to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what was expected out of me, or the gods or whatever made this happen. I'm like, what? I'm going to fail. I don't know what to do. So I don't know if I'm supposed to, like, is he going to die? Because he was in his funeral suit, and his hair got perfectly cut, like they fix you up nice.
Yeah.
And I remember I walked by him, and I said, I can't say anything to him. What am I going to say? They purposely came around again, and I go, I have to. This is one of those times you have to say something. And I just walked by, and I said, hi. And he went, like, what were you bothering me? And he walked away. I went, it bothers me. I don't know what happened. And it's frustrating. Like, it's frustrating because you don't know what you're, like the hotel. What are you supposed to do with that? It's not there anymore.
Right.
Why are they calling you? What could you? But that's the fun of it too. That's the mystery too. That if we had the answers to everything, it probably wouldn't be too much fun.
Well, I was thinking, well, maybe we moved into this new house. That maybe they used to live there before we did, or something, or something happened to one of them, or something. It was just really strange, and I couldn't get much information on the hotel, like the name or anything. It was, well, I think we did get the name, but I don't know if we did research of that. I think it just freaked us out because we just moved in. It's like, okay, this is happening again to us, because a lot of things happen. I mean, we used to live in a house where this older woman used to sing Amazing Grace to my children.
Oh, wow.
It was Silent Night to my children. And my kids would come up and says, Mom, somebody's singing. And it was through the wall. You can hear through the wall.
Terrifying, but nice.
Yeah, now, I know. Creepy, but nice. Yeah, exactly.
That you talked about the phone call, in the book that you read. Now I remember in a story about this. It's just one of my Facebook friends that said, I never thought I'd be able to tell this story. I believe it was his dad, and he worked for some big company in our state here, like an electric company or something. And and his dad used to call home all the time, and the caller ID would say whatever company it was, extension 263 or whatever. And
Yeah, I read that one too.
yeah, so after his dad died or whatever, he got a phone call from. Yeah, but the place has been abandoned for years. The building closed down. There's no electric going to it. It was like an abandoned
Boarded
building.
up.
He got a phone call from his dad, I think it was.
Yeah.
It was just like maybe an echo of something happening before, or it was kind of nice little how you doing there. But there was no voice in there, but nobody was there on the phone. But it's calling from that cubicle in that office from that building.
That extension, that specific phone extension. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I remember that one.
Yay! All right, Jimmy, that's awesome.
I'm so proud.
So you have had pretty exciting life with, especially with Ed and Lorraine. I mean, that is when I heard that you was investigating with them. I was like really overexcited because it's like, oh my god, this guy.
Well, it was the
Oh my
best
god.
years ever.
Yes.
Now that you look back, like you appreciate it a lot more.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It wasn't like a big deal. They weren't the Conjuring, Ed and Lorraine Warren. They were just like
normal people.
Yeah. And a lot of people made fun. Like it wasn't like nowadays. Like we used to go to a like a lot of people say they embellish this or that, and they probably did, for books and stuff. But they really did go to these hundreds and hundreds of thousands. They did, because just some nights we go to 3 houses just to check out their story, and none of them turned into movies or books, or they really did all this work. My point is, we go to especially at night, if we investigated a house somewhere far away and we came back, there'd be a diner that they always stopped at on the way to their house. And back then, I like the people dining there would look, make faces at them and look over like, oh, they're weirdos. Like they really did do that. Like they weren't like nowadays, have your autograph, take a picture.
Yeah, exactly. Can I get a selfie? Yeah.
It was much different then.
Yeah, like I said, they were kind of the grandmother and grandfather of the paranormal world. They took the brunt of it for us to be able to do what we do now without the ridicule. And
no matter what you say, all the people that say, oh, they weren't my influence because I watched, the Ghost Hunters generation. It's like, no, Jason and Grandma, they were fans of Ed and Lorraine, right? That's so yeah. They're definitely pioneers.
Jimmy, what do you think about the Conjuring house and what's going on with it right now? It's
so sad.
It's sad, isn't it? I mean, she's abandoned the house. She's moved back to Massachusetts, from what I understand, and the house is just vacant right now, sitting there.
It's amazing. I went to it when Corey and Jen owned it, and
Warners,
I didn't even know that when we're just you're investigating the basement, just looking around and stuff, just taking it all in, and they actually have some kid. You might have seen this. Some kid drew on the side of an old cabinet or something, or shelf.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
the hanging crooked neck guy was creepy. Like that's been there for 50 years. I don't know how many, but it's still there. That little thing terrified me more than anything.
Wasn't that the eldest daughter? I think her name was Helen or something like that. I think one of the eldest daughters was the one that did that. I thought.
It's so creepy.
The
neck.
Yeah, it's like it's at an odd angle.
Yeah, very uncomfortable.
Yeah, like not what you would normally.
Not what kids normally draw.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So
but
what were some
sad, the situation about The Conjuring?
It really is, what are some experiences that you had when you were there?
I didn't have any experiences or anything. They were more of the, doing the overnight video type stuff. I don't remember anything notable happening. We're getting voices outside. EVPs outside the property near the wall, and they said something like, we're buried.
Oh.
under the wall or something. I remember something like that.
Oh.
Wow.
Well, you know the most notable thing, because we're doing a big live. It was with the new Warren's group, whatever.
Yeah.
We're doing a live, and they have like 1 billion followers, whatever, on their YouTube. We're doing a live video all night long on this. So I was outside sneaking a cigarette, of course, and this carload of people drove by and they go, "We're watching you on YouTube." It was weird. But the Lizzie Borden house, I went there just for the bucket list because it's not that far from me. I said, "Live right here. Why not stay overnight? Once at least say you went there."
Yeah.
And I was because I was much younger, and I didn't go there to investigate so much. Just stay overnight and say you did it. But of course, I had my tape recorder in my trunk, because I always did. And so it was like it was more like I wasn't an investigator. It was just like people like me just wanted to go to check it off their list.
Mhm.
So we're all nobody was going to sleep. And it was 11, 12 o'clock at night, and all these people are up, and they're like, I said, "What are you guys doing in here?" Like, "We're waiting for something to happen." And I was just like saying, they're not gonna haunt on cue. You know? So I felt bad for them. So I was trying to be a big hero, and I got my tape recorder out of the trunk. I said, "At least let me try." I was trying to entertain them because they were bored. I felt bad. And that's when Leanne Wilbur owned it, and so she made us coffee. She goes, "You guys will be up a while." So I got the tape recorder out and said, "This is the way we do it now," and pressed record and asked the question in front of everybody. Like, everyone witnessed this, and immediately got an answer. I don't remember right now what it was, but it was verified because it was something that was historical, about the place. And she even showed us an article, like whether there was a name or whatever it was, but it came out immediately, and that was notable, but I just can't remember what it was. Maybe I should research that back. You forget so much stuff. So much
yeah.
Well, it is. It's hard to remember. Yeah. I mean, I have cases, and my husband's told me time and time again, you need to write them all down so you can remember them. But I don't have the time either.
Because we forget stuff. That's another reason why I wanted to write, because we're getting older.
Yeah.
So luckily, I still have a lot of the tapes and DVDs and audio cassettes of the original investigations, so I can go back to them. But without that, they're going to be gone forever, and it'll be sad.
Exactly.
I know when we went to the Lizzie house, we went in groups. It's like group of 6, maybe 6 or 7. And when I first walked in, my son kept saying, "Mom, do you feel anything? Do you feel anything?" I'm like, "No, I don't feel anything." And everybody's like, "Oh, I feel somebody touch me. Somebody just, pull my hair, or somebody poked me in something." And I'm just looking at them like, okay, I'm not a skeptic or anything. No, I do believe in everything. So we went to, it was the living room when Andrew was on the couch. They have like a dummy, on the couch and stuff. And my daughter-in-law is like, "I feel like a little kid just touched my hand," because it was 2 little kids that died from next door and everything. And I'm like, "Oh, really?" And I'm like, "Okay," which was okay. And then they have pictures on the dining room of Andrew's head, what's left of it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very
graphic.
Very, and I looked those pictures, and I'm like, "Oh, Andrew, I bet you don't like these pictures." And all of a sudden, 2 or 3 pictures just fell off the table.
Holy mackerel!
And I'm like, "Oh, Andrew, you don't like them, I see." So they were into like the parlor, and we had this young lady who said she was a medium, which she could be, I'm not saying she was or was not. So she had one of those ghost box. And she goes, I'm going to go under in a trance and see if I can talk to somebody here, And my son is like, Mom, do that, do that. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it.
Do it.
And so this young lady did it. She like 1, 2, 3, she was in a trance. Then 1, 2, 3, she was out of a trance. And she goes, oh my God, somebody grabbed a hold of my leg and was squeezing my leg and everything. Plain as day. The ghost box goes, you are a liar. No one touch you. And
I love it.
Called out. Good.
I love it. Awesome.
Yeah, they just like, they looked around and my son and daughter-in-law's like, Mom, do you think that she is lying? And I'm like, why are you guys asking me all the time? I go, sometimes people will say who they are and they're not really, they just want to be. I go,
Right.
but then maybe they are. And maybe, she is feeling something touching her, but in her own mindset or something.
Right.
I go, I really can't tell. But we went down to the basement and they did it's where they had a seance place and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Still, I saw shadows and stuff, but didn't really pick up anything. So then the group moved on over, and I told my son, I go, let me stay in this seance room, So I sat down, and I just, went into my own little trance thing and everything. And I had somebody come up to me and poke me and say, you're nice. We like you.
Oh.
Can you do me a favor? Can you just let this all stop? We're so tired. And I feel really emotional, And it's like, okay, I just got to get out of here. I didn't tell it to nobody except for my son and my daughter-in-law because it says something. If you tell it to everybody, they're going to come after you like, oh, what else did this say? Has that ever happened to you guys?
Oh yeah. I get that a lot. I mean, being a medium, it's like everybody wants to know who. As soon as I announced it that I'm a medium, the first thing that happens is who's around me. Can you tell me if my grandmother's here? I need to talk to my grandfather or my son, and and sometimes it does happen on a dime like that, but oftentimes, I've got a girlfriend she's awesome. Whenever we're out somewhere, one night we were at a bar and somebody did that. She goes, she's off right now. Leave her alone.
I got two things. Quick.
Go for it, Jimmy.
One, you remember I said we forget stuff if we don't tell the stories.
Yeah.
And you said I said nothing happened at Lizzie Borden. I forget. My ex-wife, and she's been with me through all this stuff, seen all my crazy cases and everything. And when we were walking through between the upstairs bedrooms, she got her hair pulled. You can even see her hair go like that. She goes, somebody just pulled my hair.
Wow.
Just like you said. And then I remember she was sleeping. She went to sleep early because she was scared, and she left the door open and the lights on. So all the little people are investigating all night long. Saw was sleeping right there in the bed with the lights on. But then about the medium kind of stuff, do you feel? Because like I said, I play around with this. I'll never say I'm anything.
Right.
Do you feel that when if somebody's a total stranger to you, it's easy to get stuff picked out of them than somebody you already know already?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And
then you scare them, don't you? You scare them.
Yeah,
like,
because I think people you just know too much about them already. But with someone new, it's a blank slate.
Exactly
You get things flashed or words, and it's easier. I wonder if that's a thing.
I have friends who want me to do readings for them, and I tell them it's just not appropriate for me to do it because I know them.
Exactly.
And so oftentimes I feel I get verklempt, for lack of another word, and can't even do the reading for them because I'm so on what's the word I'm looking for. I can't find it. I can't do it, But yeah, in a stranger, I can pick somebody out of a crowd and go, my God, that grandfather really wants to say something to his grandson, And it's like that. It's just instantaneously easy. So yeah, it's more difficult when you know somebody and know everything about their life. And then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, your grandfather told you to, get your shit together or something like that, obviously it's, you know them, so it's not really validated as such.
Yeah, I just believe in that. Like I said, people that are skeptics, did they ever had it happen to them? Once you know it, you believe it, and that's all that matters.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So, Jimmy, you have any projects coming up? Any besides maybe doing another book 2, or
I'm working on book 3 right now, more stories, and we have some big events coming up for anybody that's around these areas. We're having a big one in Connecticut, July 12th and 13th. You can go to my Facebook page, probably the best way to find stuff. And then in Nashua, New Hampshire, at the end of July, and then I think up in Maine somewhere in September. And I'm forgetting other stuff too.
Are they Paracons, or what are you
Yes.
doing, Jimmy? What are the events? Are they Paracons?
I'll be speaking and vending. The one in January. I'm trying to think of what they call it. Everybody calls their Paracon something different.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Paracon with 2 N's. That's the Connecticut one. That's
Yeah.
the first one in July. And then there's I think they call it Truth Seekers Expo in Nashua, New Hampshire. And that's all like ghosts, UFOs, and cryptids and stuff. All that stuff we like.
Yeah.
And then I'm forgetting stuff too.
That's why I have a calendar. It's all color coded.
I'm old. I have to have a ledger now, and I had my kids buy me one for Christmas.
And I still have a paper one too.
Then I can't find it.
I have both. I have paper one. I have electronics.
It's so bad.
Still too. Things confused,
I do. All of a sudden, I'll remember something, and my husband will look at me and go, "I thought you put this on your calendar," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's up in this calendar."
Or I leave a note of what I need to bring to work tomorrow. And I go, where I put the note? I don't know. Exactly. I need a note for the note.
Well, I wish I lived the East Coast. I mean, I love the East Coast. It's like a second home to me.
Yeah, come over.
New Hampshire and Massachusetts and Maine, especially. I love Maine. But it's like everything's happening in the East Coast. Nothing happens in the Midwest. And it's like, damn.
The only thing I like about New England is I want to move so bad. I want to go somewhere, but when family's here, you don't want to go too far away.
Right.
They're all getting older now, but New England, everything's like so close. Like, we're gonna go to Salem. That's 2 hours away. New York City, that's 2 hours away. New Hampshire's 2.5 hours. Everything in Connecticut's within an hour of each other. So you can go do the whole tour of haunted places in a half a day.
That is so
you know about in Rhode Island, the Mercy Brown grave, the vampire girl?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go see her.
Wow. Well, that's the thing about the East Coast too, Chrissy. They have so many great locations that you can go to. At least I feel like on my side, I really don't have a lot.
Yeah.
We went to Lizzie Borden's graves with her family gravesite, and we was coming home from the East Coast, and we was like, we didn't touch a gravesite. It's like how we need to see the graves. It was like probably 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night.
It was dark.
And it was dark, and we went to the grave, and my poor mother was in the back seat, like, "Are you guys crazy? This is." No, we're not crazy, but yeah, the grave is actually it's marked so on the road, so because I guess a lot of people visit the graves and stuff. Yeah, follow the white lines and stuff. Takes you right to the graves.
Oh,
wow!
Yeah, they had the whole family there, so it was exciting, and you kind of picked up a little bit of this and that, not too much, but they have a nice offering plate there and everything.
Oh, that's nice.
With Lizzie and Emma, her sister. So yeah.
See if you guys.
I have a question for both of you.
Yeah.
Jimmy, do you feel like, since you both have been to Lizzie Borden's house, I haven't, it's like you, Jimmy, it's a bucket list item for me. But do you feel that Kindred Spirits did a show where they actually did both the Lizzie Borden house and they did the house that, was it called Myrtle House, where she died, I think, which was not far away from where the house was, but that they got more activity from actually Lizzie at the other house, not the Lizzie Borden house, the other house. I'll call it, for lack of not knowing the the place, Myrtle House.
Yeah.
But when they went there, they got more evidence from her when they didn't talk anything about the murders.
Yeah.
And they got a lot of activity. Do you feel that she was wrongfully accused?
No. I mean, she was in the garage cutting pears.
Yeah.
When all these murders happened.
I
But
mean,
no,
I don't think so. I think she probably did do it. I don't know how she got away with it, but
I hope she. I mean, I hope. I would be terrible if she was accused of it and didn't do it. But
yeah.
Yeah, because I still don't know how she got off.
And you're talking about you got more information here than there.
Yeah.
I try to picture, like I said, you could go to a random field anywhere and get voices, or like, why are the spirits there? It's like, I really picture, like, do you remember in Willy Wonka?
Yes.
When the Mike TV guy he exploded or whatever, and he was up in the air like a little static.
Yeah.
And I really think that it's all up there, just waiting for you to grab it, or
that's a great analogy.
Yeah. That's what I could think of.
Well, Jimmy, it's on the top of the hour, and I know you said you like to go to bed early.
We did it. I get up at 2 a.m. for work.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. But I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate
you.
it. I had fun with it,
Maybe
our paths were crossed on my
I hope so.
East Coast, and and maybe Medium Red can we all can make a trip out. What? Right.
Wow.
This is what happens to me after 7 o'clock.
Oh, geez. Well, it's 7:05 there, so we don't want to see the transformation here. So
right, exactly.
But thank you so much, and thank you everybody for joining us tonight. And please subscribe to Within the Cauldron, where secrets and mysteries lies within. Bye, Jimmy.
Thanks.
Bye, Jimmy. Thanks again.